Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the October 13th Lebanon City Council meeting. Our first order of business with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next we'll move on to the roll call members. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Gentry.
Present.
Rebecca McClure.
Present.
Bill Stoner.
Present.
Dick Robertson.
Present.
Alan Milburn.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will have the minutes from our previous meeting at our next meeting. They weren't quite finished due to a technical glitch, so we'll get those taken care of next time. First up will be our department head reports, and first is Police Department. Chief Morgan.
Good evening. Since our last meeting, the Lebanon Police Department has responded to 587 calls for service. A total of 13 people were arrested for the following crimes: 4 for operating while intoxicated, 1 for possession of meth, 1 for dealing meth, 1 for dealing cocaine, 2 for domestic battery, 3 were wanted on a warrant, and 1 was for battery with a deadly weapon. In that same time frame, 15 handgun carry licenses were sent on to the state for final approval. Then September 29th and 30th, LPD hosted a basic evidence technician class. Over that 2-day period, the students were taught the basics in crime scene processing. All of the students that attended this class, each one of them asked if we could do a week-long class instead of the 2-day. They wanted to do an advanced class where they went into more depth. So the class was a huge success, and we're looking at doing the week-long class next time and seeing what kind of results we get out of that.
Hey, Chief, I'm sorry, who was the class for?
It was all the law enforcement in the county, and we had participation from the Sheriff's Department, Whitestown, Zionsville, Jamestown. So it was for law enforcement in the county. Our CSI put it on, Colleen.
Great.
So on October 2nd, Officer Andrew Hampshire was certified as an instructor in OWI detection and standardized field sobriety testing. And that's all I had for this evening.
Thank you, Chief Morgan. Any questions for Chief Morgan from the board?
No.
Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. Next up, Fire Department, Chief Batts.
Good evening, everyone. October is typically a very busy month for LFD. Since the last Board of Works meeting, we've made 158 emergency calls of service, logged 273 training hours, performed 41 commercial inspections, installed 2 car seats, and we participated in 1 public education event. During the month of October, we always do our equipment certifications, and this will continue on throughout the month. We do SCBA fit testing for all of our personnel that tests fit and function. All of our air packs are flow tested. We go through ladder testing and certification, pump testing on our apparatus, and hydraulic tool certification. So it's just a busy certification month, a lot of things to get out of the way, but it protects us and the public at the same time. So during the month of October, all of our personnel will be attending sexual harassment awareness training. We started this last year and got very good reviews back in the program that we offered, and we're going to continue to do that and upgrade it every year. So that's the plan for the rest of the month. All 3 shifts are participating in high angle rope rescue at U.S. Cold Storage. This is a victim rescue from a high elevation inside the building, and the operating temperature in there is -2 degrees. So about 20 minutes of intense work, wearing very warm clothing, and we're having to cycle crews in and out. We want to thank U.S. Cold Storage for this great opportunity. It's been well worth it. On Wednesday, October 14th, that's tomorrow, we'll be assisted by Boone County EMS and the Center Township Fire Department, and we are going to do a full evacuation of Crown Point Senior Living. We're going to simulate a fire and then do a total evacuation of the building having an accountability plan in place for all the residents. And we did this last year, and kind of upping the ante this year, blocking a few exits, making it a little more difficult, but looking forward to doing that, and it's a good experience for the residents too. This Friday, October 16th, we will have the blessing of our Safe Haven Baby Box. This has been a collaborative effort going on for several months. It was started by former councilman Caleb Edwards. He brought this to me, and we had already been researching it through Decatur Township, but bringing a Safe Haven Baby Box to the city of Lebanon, we felt like it was the right step for our community. It's been a long process, and many hands definitely make light work. Had very generous donations from Tim Toole, the Knights of Columbus, the Boone County REMC, Mark Vickery, the list goes on and on. We've shared a media release on our Facebook page that I'd encourage all of you to check out, and we definitely want to recognize those that were so giving. So we will do our dedication this Friday, and the baby box will be open for use, and they are being used. Just last Friday, Decatur Township Fire had a baby inside their baby box, a very healthy baby. So it's, I don't know if amenity is the right term for this, but it's something that we can offer our community for sure. Any questions?
Thank you, Chief. Any questions from the board?
No.
You're having a dedication Friday?
Friday at 10:30.
Is it a public, open to public thing, or what?
I'm sorry.
Open
Is it a
public?
public thing?
It is not a public event,
Okay.
but we are offering it to the Board of Works and Council, and the media is invited. Our stations still aren't open to the public yet.
Yeah.
Any questions from the public? Yep. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Next up is Parks Department. John Messenger.
Good evening. Our second pickleball tournament of the season went well this last Saturday with 24 teams entered. There again, congrats to our 55 and older division winners. Their name was Two Old Farts. Lebanon's own Sam Young and Pete Webb. There again, 54 and younger division winners. Their team name was No Laws. Kristen Purcell and Jason Denton. They were from Westfield. The mayor played, did very well. As far as that, there were quite a few
Not well
out there. I think it was great. What's that?
Said not well enough.
Yeah, not well enough. No, you won a lot of games. You're up there. But a great turnout. We had teams, as the mayor could tell you, from all over: Brownsburg, Westfield, Indianapolis. It's really good. They love our courts, and it's a very popular game, to say the least. I think, Dick, you and the mayor both have been saying, hey, you better get some pickleball. Those courts were all full, and as you can see on a daily, they're busy. But I think it's been a great addition to the Parks Department. Pumpkins in the Park will be our next event. That will be held Saturday, the 24th, from 11 to 2. Kids and adults can come out to Memorial Park for hay rides, s'mores, pumpkin painting, kettle corn, and hot cider, along with pumpkin bowling. The cost for children are $5, and then in-kind donation for adults. We'll have plenty of pumpkins and painting there for everyone. The new rope climbing feature is now installed in Memorial Park, and it's very popular. Reese Park is still busy with Boys and Girls Club soccer. Youth football has finished the regular season, and now they're practicing for a few travel games, along with a trip to Tennessee, which they're trying to fundraise. So if you want to help out the youth teams, you can get a hold of their website and see where you can contribute there. We have ordered 3 dog park features with money raised from the Girl Scouts. They tried to do a fundraiser and came up with quite a bit of money. We'll go ahead and pull some money out of the non-reverting dog park fund. Now that we have almost 200 members there, we will install those as soon as they get in. Due to the very dry fall, we are holding off on planting any memorial trees. We have quite a list. It's just too dry out there. Even with this little bit of rain, we don't want to take a chance of planting and then have to replant and replace. We've repaired concrete walk from at Memorial Park from Lebanon Street, east on Ulen, east on Camp, north on Ulen, all the way around to the Northeast Street entrance. I think about 23 yards. We have approximately 10 to 12 more yards to go from Northeast Street to Ulen. That will repair all our sidewalks, and if the weather holds, we'll get that done. Log doctors from Tennessee came out, and they fell in love with our cabin. We've been waiting on this group. They're a really good log cabin. They're very intelligent and knowledgeable. They've been on TV shows and whatnot. They were going up to Notre Dame, South Bend, so they stopped in to check out our cabin, give me some pointers. And boy, we got all kinds of great information. I was very excited to find out that it's not in the bad condition I thought it was. So we can do a lot of we're going to contract some of the work out, probably $20,000 to $30,000 at most. But it's solid. They said it'll be there long after everybody is gone. So that was very encouraging. I was really worried about some of it. It's some old poplar that they haven't seen. They just fell in love. Would love to take it back to Tennessee with them, but they said no, structurally it's sound, very good information. I was very concerned about that. And we'll get that done in the next few weeks. We will be closing the conservation pond on November 1st. It's been very popular this year, but time to close the gates on it. There again, we've had quite a number of people. Want to thank retired Fire Chief Ted Caldwell for opening and closing that on a daily and really maintaining and helping us keep it up. I got a phone call this weekend with a few things going on, and he's just really good with everybody, and really appreciate his help out there. And that's all I had.
Thank you, John. Any questions for the board for John? No? Any questions from the public? Okay, thank you, John. We need to get you out the next pickleball tournament, all right?
Yeah, I will now that my knee's fixed.
All right, thanks, John. All right, next up is Engineering Department, Kevin Krulik.
Thank you, board members. Engineering report for this evening. Downtown, last couple of things have been wrapped up in the last few days. The additional shrub and tree replacements went in last week. Also wanted to thank John, his crew, for all the work they did, sort of putting our landscape beds to bed for the winter, if you will, cutting back all the perennial grasses and things of that nature, and just cleaning things up. So we'll be ready to start growing again in the spring. We also started our walk resurfacing project in front of the Pythias Hall building in front of Lacey Boggs and St. Adrian's. That was also last week. Essentially, we had some issues with some of the first coatings that went down. I was afraid it was going to hold some water. I had to have the contractor redo that area. So what we thought would just be a 3-day job is going to turn into a 6-day job. They've got to come back and finish the final epoxy and granite coatings of that walk, which will happen the week of October 26th. So not next week, but the week after. They will be there putting those final surface coats on there on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then we'll open it back up to pedestrian traffic on Thursday morning. We will, as if anyone was in the area last week, we do have a ramp to get people into the residential units on the second floor of that building. And again, I need to give kudos to John once again to help us get the rework done on the areas that I was not happy with the drainage. John helped us go pick up some material at Menards, so I thank him and his crew that went out and grabbed, I think, 60 bags of cement for us. It helped us a lot. Other projects, pavement resurfacing. We have closed out our 2019 Round 2 Community Crossing Grant Program, so that is all complete and closed out. And we are in the process of preparing for our 2020 Round 2 application, which is due on October 23rd. 32 resurfacing, that project is now complete by the state, but they have another project in the pipeline I want to tell everyone about. It's a project that's supposed to let next April and be under construction next summer, and that is the signal modernization at 32 and 39. Why do I bring that up? Is because they are willing to install the decorative poles to match the other intersections in downtown. Not free, of course, but they are willing to let us pay the difference for the decorative material. I don't know what exactly that's going to cost at this point, but I'll keep everyone posted as that comes forward. I think it's a good opportunity for us to take advantage of, since they're going to be there working and doing the work anyway. So again, more to come on that. Sidewalk replacement programs, the work on Lafayette Avenue was complete week before last, but now all that seeding has been completed, and we'll just see how much grass we can get to grow before winter gets here. In that area of town, the Whit Road Bridge continues to move forward. We are also planning to submit that bridge replacement for the 2020 Round 2 Community Crossing Grant Program, again due on October 23rd. We're working with the county and Attorney Shine on the MOU for the future bridge acceptance. Once that bridge is completed by the city, it will get turned over to the county for maintenance. Big Four Trail, soil borings are now complete. The geotechnical engineers are working on analyzing that pavement analysis so we can know how better to improve the life of the pavement on the trail. A couple other quick updates. Grant Street, I think I mentioned this last time, but the county is moving forward with Bridge 311, the bridge on Williams Street, which is just around the corner from our Grant Street project. They will plan to replace that next summer, starting in the month of June. That is pending their approval on community crossing grant programs. Interesting fact, though, on community crossing programs, Community Crossings has funded every single bridge application to that program that has ever been made. So puts them in a pretty good position, puts us in a pretty good position. They have not denied a single bridge request through that program. There's also other work there. Lebanon Utilities has a water main in the bridge deck, and they're going to be relocating that water main in the spring. They think they can do it over spring break when the school is closed. Fordyce Street. Just happy to report that Baker Tilly has completed their analysis, their funding strategies for that. They gave us several valid strategies. It seems like the best strategy really is to look at stormwater, existing surplus funds, as well as a bond associated with the stormwater revenue that will cover the construction of Fordyce Street, scheduled to start, really the main construction will start in the spring of 2022. And then the Stone Eater Bike Park, quick updates there. I had a couple of great meetings since we last made those announcements on our partnerships with NICA. We have a major corporate partner at the table that is taking things up the ladder to their Chicago head offices. I'm not allowed to say a name yet, but we're hoping they'll get back to us shortly with a major partnership there. And also happy to report that we've been working with NDOT and NDOT's contractor on the I-65 added travel lane project, which was let last week. E&B Paving is the apparent low bidder, and we're working with them and IDEM and NDOT to allow them to use the bike park site and also bring us the excess material that the 65 widening project will create. It's probably material that has a value of over $500,000 by the time they bring it to us free of charge. So we'll keep you posted as those things move forward. We are meeting with the City Council in working session later in the week to talk further about the Stone Eater project. Regional detention, happy to report our regional detention layouts have now been finalized. We're just working forward with the developers and the business park on how we complete that project. And I think that's all I have for you for tonight.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions for Kevin from the board? Anything from the public? Thank you, sir. Next up, Planning Department, Ben Bontrager.
Good evening, board members. Planning Department report for this evening. Happy to report that we now have, and I think I mentioned it last time, we're now to full staff. We've got a system planner on board and a second building inspector on board, and you'll see that reflected in the numbers. Normally, we do 40 to 60 building inspections every 2 weeks, and we're up to 83 just in the time that we've got a second inspector. So there was some additional demand for more time from our department, so we're seeing that reflected in our numbers. We did issue an additional 41 permits over the last couple of weeks, so we're still seeing our permit activity very strong. One of those was a foundation release for a new building in the business park. I can't remember the size. I think it's 600,000 square foot industrial building. So they're starting some earthwork out there, and they'll be pulling the full building permit later this fall. So good activity there. That's one of two buildings that we'll see start construction this fall in the industrial park. So that's good news. Other projects that are getting close, I know everybody's continues to ask about the Brakeman building that's just across the street here. As I'm sure you all saw when you came in, the SS building is now on the ground. So we're moving forward quickly on the demolition. The developer for that project is hoping to close on their loans before the end of the month, so we'll start seeing some activity on their side very quickly as well. So expect to see construction starting over the winter time on that project, so that's great news as well. Also on project-related items, the Fisher Homes project, Cedar Ridge, is on the east side of town. That will be getting their ordinances on second reading tonight on the council's agenda. That'd be their final step for getting that approved, and then we'll start seeing some activity related there as well too. So another good residential project looking at the east side of town. On the code enforcement side, again, we've got 2 folks spending a lot of their time focusing on that, so we're really getting a lot of additional items addressed, being a little bit more proactive about code enforcement, working a lot with our legal team, thanks to Rob Shine and his team, as we're starting to look at how to address situations where the homeowner or property owner does not respond to our requests. So we're really working through putting together proper procedures in place to do that, and if we need to go to court, what that looks like and all those good things. So a lot of good activity there. We're going to see a lot more effectiveness, I think, over the long run on the code enforcement side. I think that's all I got for this evening.
Thank you, Ben. Any questions for Ben from the board? No. Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you much.
Next up is Street and Stormwater Department. Dave Newell.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
See, we're just still getting ready. We haven't got to it yet, trimming some tree limbs for our equipment, for the winter equipment, our leaf machines and our plow trucks. It's because we've been very busy crack sealing. We kind of took that on ourselves this time. Saved a lot of money, so that's good. Just getting in our flow of it, getting used to it, try to rotate it into our every year maintenance. So that's kind of slowed us down a little bit from doing our tree trimming, but we should be back probably next week or the week after, getting ready on that. We pretty much wrapped up all of our storm repairs for the season unless we have any emergency repairs. So pretty much takes the whole crew to do the crack sealing, but we got it down pat. With traffic control and all that stuff. Fall cleanup went really good this year. It didn't seem like we never had the lines like we have, but man, we filled up a lot of dumpsters. So I think one vehicle came in 5 times and it was a box truck. So he rented it just for that. So maybe code enforcement and stuff, maybe people were starting to clean up. I know people have been home, so we usually stay pretty busy anyway. We just seemed like we took a lot of trash for no more cars than we had. We will be starting leaf season probably next week or week or two. We plan on probably getting one machine out next week because we had quite a few leaves fall over the weekend. We're just not ready to go full bloom yet, but that gives us more time to do some crack sealing. And we'll follow we try to follow the trash route. It makes it easier for people. So the day your trash is, just have your leaves out. You don't have to put your trash in the leaves, but we run into that a little bit.
Please don't, right?
Yeah, and don't put sticks and stuff in there. The machines won't take sticks, so we're constantly having to take those out. We've had a lot of questions about brush. They can take that to green cycle since we are not picking up the rest of the season, so that's going pretty good. People seem to be catching on, and that's about all I got.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. Any questions for Dave from the board? No. Anything from the public? Okay. Thanks, sir. Last but not least, Communications, Community Development, Joe LePage.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to start off my report with a brief reminder. Any of the meetings that you see in the paper or on our website, we've continued to make strides in the transparency department, and so I wanted to share with you an example. Our Historic Preservation Commission meeting is scheduled for the 15th. And currently all the documents for that meeting, agendas and supplemental information, are all now added on meetings like the ones we had this evening. And again, Derek Warren passed that along to myself and other members on the Historic Preservation Commission. We're adding all that information so that the public can view things that are going on and kind of behind the scenes that may not have otherwise been out there. And so I wanted to briefly share that with folks, and you can get there by just going to our homepage at lebanon.in.gov, and if you go down to the left-hand side, about midway down on your home screen, There'll be a calendar there. You can see the meetings, the events that are coming up. Usually you can click on those if there are different events or things like that. But in the public meeting department, you can click on those and you'll see additional agenda and additional documents. And so you can click on that, all the ones that you need to see that to help you find out and know the kind of inner workings about what's going on are all there for you. Again, wanting to be transparent with folks. Secondly, I wanted to briefly talk about our latest Lebanon legend in our video series. You may remember those that we do, famous faces, folks that grew up in Lebanon who have gone on to do fantastic things. And certainly the gentleman that I talked to last week is certainly a Lebanon legend. Some may remember Doug Jones, Major League Baseball pitcher, All-Star, five-time All-Star, played on a number of teams. The Sultan of Slow, played here at Lebanon for his uncle, City Council member Keith Campbell. But we sat down with Doug, and we're going to do something a little bit different with Doug. We ended up just talking. Usually the interviews take half an hour or so, but Doug had so many fantastic nuggets and things to share that there were 58 minutes of interview time with Doug and all the great stories he shared with famous faces of folks that played Major League Baseball and talking about his family in Lebanon as well. I'm in the process of cutting that up and putting it on our podcast platform. And so the entire interview will be up there. I'll give a brief introduction, and so folks can listen to just the amazing life and journey that Doug has had, the amazing story of perseverance. He spent nearly a decade in the minor leagues before getting called up to the show. And so just him being a part of baseball and doing that, and then finally getting up to the major leagues and like I said, being an all-star and playing on some pretty good teams. He's got a great story to tell. It's amazing. And so we want to be able to share the whole thing. And so going to do that as part of our Lebanon Legends series. We'll do the video with the highlights and all those things as well, of course, on our YouTube channel and the public access. You'll be able to see that. But the interview in its entirety will be up on it'll come out as a podcast, but it'll be the interview itself. Thirdly, we'd like to remind folks that the Indiana Art Commission, the grant that we applied for and received, a date has been set for our introductory meeting with the representatives from the state, and that's coming up on Tuesday, November 10th at 1 p.m. That is a Zoom call, and so we have 3 or 4 community members that have said they want to be part of this. This is the establishment of a cultural district and adding more arts to our community, that type of thing. Really great endeavor that we look forward to going down as a city. But if folks are still wanting to get involved, we would love to have them as part of our team. And so if folks want to reach out to me, my email address is my first name, joe.lepage, Lepage, at lebanon.in.gov. We'll get you set up, get you the Zoom link so you can join in with that initial call. There's a lot of information in the first one, so it's roughly 2 hours long, I've been told by the state. So that'll be at 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. It's a big ask, to be honest, via a Zoom call, but it'll be well worthwhile, and the journey will be a good one. Finally, I wanted to pass along our magazine article in our October edition of Indianapolis Monthly. Lebanon is featured on there. I'm going in, I gotta go out. So this is what it looks like. This is right out of the magazine article. You can see our great courthouse. You can see Dump Bucket, the Big 4 Trail, reflection there on the hot pond. So listed on this article, you can see the 5 things there, and kind of want to highlight briefly. The October issue, it touts our parks, our trail, our downtown, our library, various festivals too. We jam-packed this with everything. So it doesn't really hit on one particular thing. It just talks about one basic theme, and that being Lebanon, Indiana. This is home. And so great parks, great businesses, both large and small, a great downtown, great schools, great library, all those things. And so if you subscribe or pick up Indianapolis Monthly, encourage you to check it out and see for yourself. We really want to be able to paint with a broad brush because, quite honestly, there is a lot to love in Lebanon. So look forward to doing more articles in different magazines, different publications to tout the great things going on in Lebanon. So, going on.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe from the board? Anything from the public? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, that concludes department head reports. So move on to old business. I don't have anything on my agenda for old business. Is there anything from the board?
No old business, no.
No? Okay, on new business then. First up is Heart of Lebanon Mischief on Meridian street closure request. Ms. Krulik?
Good evening. We finished up with Oktoberfest this last Saturday, so on to Mischief on Meridian now. So I'll go ahead and put up kind of the layout of the event. Oh, you can't really get it on there. Go out any further? All right, I'll have to move it around, I guess. Okay, so pile into your car or golf cart on October 24th from 4 to 7 p.m. and experience Mischief on Meridian in a whole new way with our drive-through Halloween event. You and others can marvel at the larger-than-life Halloween displays as you make designated stops to fill your bags with candy as you move down Meridian Street. Get your passengers in on the Halloween fun as you decorate your vehicle and enter into our car decorating contest for a chance to win up to $250 in downtown cash. Vehicles will enter at Memorial Park on East Street at the East Street entrance and line up anytime between 4 and 7 to be released onto Meridian Street for some Halloween fun. In order to make this an amazing event for our community, the Heart of Lebanon is seeking organizations, businesses, or individuals who would like to provide candy at the designated stops, or volunteers to be part of the downtown displays. I know that there are those who love Halloween out there in our community, so we're asking you to come forward and help make the eyes of the children light up as they, one, get candy. I mean, it's pretty spectacular. And two, are entertained by the Halloween displays. So if you're interested in volunteering or handing out candy, please contact the Heart of Lebanon at info@heartoflebanon.org. This will definitely be a Halloween event for everyone to enjoy. So as far as street closures go, our plan is to, this is Memorial Park. Our plan is to have the cars come in at the East Street, loop around the park, and come to the Meridian Street exit, and they'll start the line up there. And then one car at a time will be released down Meridian Street, and they'll go to the designated stop. So you can see with the arrows there, the designated stops down Meridian Street, where they'll go to a stop, they'll stop their car, put it in park, and the trunk-or-treaters will come approach the car and give the kids candy, put candy in their bag. And then that car will stay there until they're released to go to the next stop, where they'll get more candy. So lots of fun. We're encouraging the residents along Meridian Street to decorate their homes and just really make this a visually appealing Halloween event for the cars as they drive through. And then it'll culminate downtown with larger-than-life Halloween displays. We have a 2-story black cat and a 16-foot pumpkin and a pirate display. So we're really trying to dress the downtown to really make it a fun display to drive through. And the Mischief on Meridian will end at this South Street light. So I am asking for no parking on the length of Meridian Street from Hewlin Drive to Washington Street for setup from 2:30 p.m., starting at 2:30 p.m., so those trunk-or-treaters can set up their stations. And then a road closure of Meridian Street from Hewlin Drive to South Street from 3:30 to 7:30.
So the only traffic would be driving south that are participating as part of the event, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And all intersections will be closed at that point.
And we're doing this just because of, I mean, obviously the COVID situation. We had concerns about large crowds downtown, right?
Right. Our Mischief on Meridian is our largest event. We have thousands of people. We entertained ideas of maybe spacing it out, but we can't really control the the flow of the traffic and where the people congregate. So we felt like this was our best alternative for COVID reasons, that the kids and the families could just stay in their car, and the trunk-or-treaters could approach the cars mask on, of course, safest way possible to give out the candies and the
Okay.
treats.
Questions for Missy from the board? Luckily, I think, as a resident of Meridian Street, luckily we have two kind of roads that are parallel with Meridian and East Street, so it shouldn't be too much of a traffic concern. We can all still access our homes, and either that or by alleys and things like that. So with that, I would entertain a motion to approve the no parking on North Meridian Street from Uline to Washington Street, starting at 2:30 on November 24th, as well as the street closure of Meridian from North Meridian from Uline to Washington from 3:30 to 7:30.
So move.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion?
Only,
Oh,
did you
sorry.
say, Missy, did you say though to South Street closures? When you said what you want to close, because the mayor just
Oh,
said
I'm sorry.
Washington Street.
Yeah.
Parking from
The
Uline
closures.
to Washington Street at
Closures.
2:30, but the road closure from on Meridian Street from Uline to South Street.
Oh,
I would just move to amend the
thank you, Judge. Appreciate it. We have a,
amended motion.
yeah, motion to approve the motion as amended. Is there a second? Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, and that street closure is approved, and appreciate you willing to do something a little out of the box for this one. I know it's been a challenging circumstances, but I know kids will still love the event and they'll be able to participate, so I think that'll be great for them.
We're
So,
excited.
appreciate it. Thank you, Missy. Okay, next up is authorization for professional services, architectural, engineering, owner representations, bidding and inspection, KRM Architecture and Kramer Companies for our street department garage. Kevin Krillick?
Absolutely. Let me start you off here with, set the vision for what we're talking about. This is an artist rendering of the proposed street department garage. This is something that was developed through, as part of a response to an RFP that we put out for design services. This is a little bit more of a bird's eye view, sort of showing you the entire layout of the facility with offices up front, basically an indoor parking garage for street department vehicles, and then as well as storage outdoors that includes a salt barn as well as some bays for bulk storage of things like sand, gravel, stone, asphalt materials. So that is, again, these are just conceptual as part of the RFP process to choose a design team. This is a quick layout of the building.
Can you rotate it 180 for me? Yep, thank you.
Go. So obviously new offices for the street department, including break rooms, conference room spaces. An important feature we wanted to add to that would be locker rooms and showers. It's dirty work that goes on in that department, so this gives them an opportunity to get cleaned up before they have to leave. And then there's the large, indoor parking garage, if you will, that can park all of our existing pieces of equipment inside and get them out of the weather. So what we're asking for tonight is, we're not ready to talk about the funding of the facility. The total ballpark price for the entire facility, design and everything included, is right around $4 million. But what we're asking asking for permission for tonight is a funding request to fund the design services, the professional services that are needed for the project. So we're talking about architecture and engineering. The architect that won the RFP process is KRM Architecture, and their proposal, including all civil engineering, architectural engineering, structural engineering, mechanical engineering, everything needed for that entire pretty picture I showed you, is $250,000. We've got then an agreement before you for Kramer Companies to help manage that process the design process, the bidding process, everything from design through bidding, all the way through construction. So that's everything they would do from soup to nuts, from the beginning of the project till when they're turning over the project. It does not include construction inspection. We'll worry about that when we're ready to fund construction dollars, but this is for managing that entire project for us. So it's $120,000 for them. That's a total of $370,000. I'd like to include about 8% contingency, just to round out the number to an even $400,000. So what we're asking for tonight is to fund professional services, subject to legal review, authorizing the mayor to execute contracts for up to $400,000, $250,000 to to KRM, $120,000 to Kramer Companies. Again, with an allocation of contingency monies of 30%, which we would come back and talk about each of those contingency items as they came up, for a total of $400,000 in appropriation. I am suggesting that because this would be a street and stormwater facility, and because the stormwater fund has ample funds in that, in their surplus accounts right now, that the stormwater department would fund the design of this facility. When we get into actual construction, and we've had Baker Tilly make some good recommendations for how we might fund this, some of the design fee that stormwater would put up would probably be paid back since it's a shared facility with the street department. But the ask tonight is just to fund professional services, again, subject to legal review, and authorizing the mayor to execute contracts not to exceed $400,000.
And just to clarify too, you said 30% contingency, but you meant 8%, $30,000 total.
Thank you very
Yeah.
much. I did.
This may be a question for Dave and not you, but how old is our current street department garage?
I will let Dave handle that. It's old.
Probably why I'm asking.
At least. I think it was triangle asphalt at one time, wasn't it?
Yeah, Steve Day told me they built it in I want to say 65.
Okay.
Okay, 65,
And then
35.
somebody tried to burn it up somewhere along the line when Triangle still had it, so
Pretty old. Okay.
pretty old. I think the street department was where Prairie Industries or something was before then.
Wait, so you've been in it since 1965? Or how long is?
No, street department moved in the 90s, I believe, early 90s down there.
Okay.
Not 100% sure, but
Okay.
They moved out there probably about 80.
Was it 80s?
83, 84.
I think they moved when
Something like that.
when the utilities kind of, and they did the split, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I will say, just to kind of go to bat for the guys at the street department for this project, I would say when I came in as mayor, this is one of the things I've been trying to figure out a way to do for quite some time. If you've ever been out to a street department garage, it's definitely reaching the end of its useful life. There's been a lot of work done there. You guys have done a great job trying to expand or extend the life of that building for you. I know there's definitely challenges with water that gets in, that causes challenges. And it's honestly, it's not a very efficient building anymore, just from a heating, cooling perspective. And so trying to get you guys a new facility, I think, and honestly, getting a facility out of a residential area. You know, I think the neighbors probably will appreciate out here in backhoes and whatnot, loading salt trucks at 2 o'clock in the morning when the snow comes. So, you know, I think, honestly, I think this is a great step for our street department as we've been putting more responsibility on you guys and expecting more. And I think you guys are doing a phenomenal job lifting up that torch and moving it forward for us. So,
Yeah, and keep in mind, we're going to have plow trucks sitting outside
yeah,
because we've outgrown where we're at.
right. So any discussion concerning the proposal tonight?
No, I think now that we have replaced a lot of equipment and we have new equipment, that we do need that equipment under roof.
Yeah, most of it's outside.
Any questions for Dave? Yep.
Kevin, I saw on the number sheet you had where it said Kramer for design and construction. Is that going to be construction and inspection too?
It's not construction inspection. It's all the, the reviewing RFIs and requests for other information, reviewing shop drawings, reviewing those things with the with the owners as well as with the engineers and architects.
Okay, so as we move forward to get into construction, we'll probably have an addendum to come forward for
For
construction
actual
inspection?
inspection and testing, yes. Yeah. The building is relatively simple construction. It's a pre-manufactured metal building. Not that it won't be attractive. We think it is pretty attractive. I guess just to maybe show you once again what the photo renderings are looking like. You know, there is some block work on the building just to give it a little more interest and try to be aware of our building guidelines, our UDO guidelines for what construction needs to look like in our business park. The rest of the building is basically a pre-manufactured metal building. We've tried to match the colors and the Lebanon logos, so I think you can see that we're trying to be sympathetic to the vision that has been cast for what Lebanon is going to look like.
Can you mention this, we didn't mention the siding of where we're thinking about putting this?
Absolutely.
And then as well as highlight the fact that where the recycling is as well too, because I know that's a community amenity people like.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Dave reminded me too that this building does allow room for expansion. Where this is at, sorry I didn't bring an overall layout, but the blue area here is the pond that is in front of the Gene Haas Center. So this is in the remaining property that exists to the west of the Gene Haas Center. We went back and looked at the master plans for Gene Haas. This doesn't affect the expansion plans for that building. The expansion footprint is still there. We're not even touching the pavement that would be needed for that expansion. So this is just in a triangular piece of property that exists back west of that Gene Haas Center, kind of also south of the parking lot for the former strip center that is located along Mount Zion Road. So it's in the business park. I think that's important too because, you know, they are some of our critical tenants, if you will, in getting snow and getting roads back open, making sure that those supply chains are running constantly. So we think this does provide us with some operational efficiencies, but also from our residential standpoint, this is more in the center of the city with better access to the whole city, getting into a more central location, especially as we see the city expanding further to the south with things like the Waterford development. This does put you in a situation where you can more quickly get to both ends of the city with quick access to I-65.
Do you have good access to 32?
You would have access straight up Mount Zion Road to 32. Okay. Yep.
Is that going, are you looking to try to make it energy efficient and that sort of thing?
Well, there are certain energy code requirements that would be built into it that are just required now in the building code. But like if you're asking, are we going to go for like LEED certification or anything of that nature? No, we weren't planning to go to that level. We were really trying to make this, you know, it's going to be a nice facility and definitely it's going to be an upgrade from the 1965 building they're operating in. But there's not a lot of frills we're building into it either. It's office space with a little bit of room for expansion, place for the guys to get cleaned up, you know, on a hot and dirty day, and then places to get our equipment inside with room for expansion, and then more modern storage facilities for salt and those other dry goods, if you will, that they keep in bulk on site.
I would look to think about putting more windows around the top of the barn like we have out at the fire station out here. Mm-hmm. They provide a lot more light inside the building back there.
Sure.
And the more free light you could get inside the building would be really a good thing.
Absolutely.
You know,
Definitely.
So if you could put some more of that in there, I think it would be helpful. So.
Very good.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Kevin or for Dave? Any public comment concerning this? Okay. At this time then, I would entertain a motion to approve the authorization for professional services, architecture, engineering, owner's representation, bidding, and inspection for a sum not to exceed $400,000 from the Stormwater Fund.
And to add, subject to legal review and approval of the mayor for.
Is that a motion, Alan?
That's a motion.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, I think it was Bill. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, that has been approved, and look forward to seeing that keep moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes what I have for new business. Is there anything from council, or from the board? Okay, any announcements or discussion? Okay, move on to claims then, and we entertain a motion concerning the claims.
Make a motion, we approve the claims.
We have a motion to approve the claims. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, claims are approved, and we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right, we are adjourned. Our next Board of Works meeting will be Monday, October 26th at 6:30 PM. Thanks for watching.